God didn't bring you in this world to be average. God didn't bring you in this world to wake up and die one day and just be another person that lived and died and didn't do anything significant in this world.
No matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, you can take the lid off of your job. And if you're wondering if you still have the lid on in your life, here are some clues that's gonna let you know that the lid is still on. If you're not excited about waking up in the morning, if you're sitting around bored out of your mind, if you got time to do everything anybody asks you to do, you probably got the lid on. If when you tell your dreams to all your friends, it makes sense to them, you got your lid on, man. Your dreams should not make sense to everybody. You gotta say something that make people go, how you gonna do that? That's when you got the lid off. And if I were you, I'd do that. I'd take the lid off.
Given all the opportunities that are there in the world, to try and figure out the thing that actually makes you want to get up in the morning, the thing that you actually love. I just know that if I weren't lucky enough to have been given the opportunity to write a movie or a show or direct anything or produce anything, I would still go home from whatever that day job is and I would try to do it because I love it, not because I really want to make a certain amount of money. It's great to be comfortable. It can be dangerous to be comfortable, but it's great to be comfortable. But I just feel like if you can figure out the thing that makes you tick, find that thing. And the other thing I would say, I guess, is a lot of young people, I find, are under such pressure. There's a kind of sense of it's all or nothing, which I think is really unfair, meaning, I don't know if it's the media and the way things are presented or if it's because there's so much success that is celebrated in society, but there is a sense I've heard enough that I feel like I haven't thought of this till now, that it is a kind of theme, that young people feel like if they don't know what they're born to do, that they're somehow broken. And I think that it needs to be looked at differently, which is that it means if you don't know that thing, it means that every door is the possibility. That's a beautiful thing. So I just feel like I would say don't stress yourself out. You know, the only reason I could deal with the pressure on Star Wars is because I loved making that movie. And if it didn't work, of course I would have been crushed, but I wasn't doing it because it was a job. And if you can find that thing and deal with the pressure of maybe not making the amount of money that you would like to yet, or not getting to the company you'd like to yet, or not having success with your startup yet, these are all things that I think you can swallow if the thing you're doing speaks to you.
It's going to take more than a notion to become successful. Because once you get this degree, it's actually just going to be a piece of paper on the wall. It's really all it's going to be. Some people may give you a job with it. The majority of people will tell you how much experience you need. So you got to hustle, man. You got to hustle. Hustle and grind. Dig, man. You got to fight. You got to have a lot of dog in you, man, to be rich. And if you just want a job, get yourself a little job. Go ahead, set a nice little life. Get a little house somewhere. Get a little get yourself a little minivan and station wagon and go and ride your life out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you really, really, really want to be balling, change some people's lives, get yourself some real money, hire people, get more than one stream of income coming in, you gotta be a hustler, man. You gotta be a hustler.
Look at other DJs, see why their sets are good, but try to have your own sound. Try to invent, dig into yourself and see who you are and kind of bring something new to the table, because if you're just copy another DJ, then you'll just be a copy. So you got to find your own identity before you go out there.
If you do what other people are doing out there, then you're not going to stand out.
I always take deadmau5 as an example. Hate him or love him, but what he's done is you can put your finger on it. You know, putting on a weird mouse head, making excellent music. You know, that makes a difference. That makes you stand out. And I think the most important thing is, if you want to be successful, that you do whatever you love. You look at other artists. Of course, you look at other artists. I do that as well. You get inspired by other people's music, but try to make it your own. And I mean, think of all these people, right? Now, sitting at home, and you're doing a concert in their city. Ask yourself, why would these people, when they're at home, you know, they're comfortable, they're warm, they're having a pizza, they're watching TV, why would they come out to see you? You know, answer that question in 2 sentences, and that's your answer right there. I mean, why would you go see deadmau5? Because he's a brilliant producer, a brilliant DJ, and he puts on a weird mouse head and everybody goes crazy. Right. You know? So that tells you the whole story, and I think that's what you have to do. Look inside yourself. Who do I want to be? What do I want to represent? And what is my sound?
And just realize, man, everybody make mistakes. And if the mistakes you're going through are going to help you become the person you need to be later on. So when you're young and you making mistakes, don't let them eat you up. Because everybody that done made it, done made them. Yeah. You got to fail in order to win. Hey, look, man, to understand how to hit the game-winning shot, you got to miss the game-winning shot.
Some of y'all have a habit of dreaming within your bank account. Some of your thoughts and visions are so big and so outlandish and so powerful and amazing, you'll end up talking yourself out of that dream from saying, I can't afford that. Well, guess what? There's a lot of shit I can't afford. There's a lot of visions and dreams that I still can't afford. I've always had this idea that one day I'm gonna meet a multi-billionaire. And with this multi-billionaire, we're gonna become the best of friends. And he's gonna say to me, Tyrese, I got all the money in the world, but I don't have your visions or your ideas. And I'll say to him, I got you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna waste your time. I got big visions and ideas. I can't afford them all, but it's not gonna stop me from having these visions and ideas. I came here to remind you that when people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have any dreams for themselves, they tend to be dream killers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They want nothing more than to talk you out of your own visions. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have any hopes. They're hopeless. They're uninspired, unmotivated. They have no dreams. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. But I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big.
I mean, you know, everybody got the same story. We just got different details. But like I always say, life is 10% what happens to you, it's 90% what you do about it. See, we're going to dive into a chapter from my new book, and it's chapter 1, section 1. This is very clear for people. So the first step is getting completely and brutally honest enough to say, I am tired of myself. When you say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's the facilitator of change. That's when you're ready to say these words, no more excuses. No more excuses. I went to Kent State, I dropped out. I didn't drop out, I flunked out. Now that threw my life into a spiral, but because I didn't have a college degree, I could not let that stop me. And like you're doing, where you're saying, all my friends at this age are settled in your careers, you don't even know if they're happy or not. Stop comparing yourself to others. So the first thing you do is stop focusing on other people. Instead, focus on being the best version of you that you can. Then you'll recognize that you deserve to sit at the big table with everybody else after you become the best that you can be. Now, once you've accepted that you have as much right to success and much right to succeed as anybody else, the next step is learning how to talk the talk. You have to get fluent in the language of success so you speak it with ease. Surround yourself with people who've accomplished their dreams and immerse yourself in the culture of achievement.
You can learn all the techniques in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, it won't happen for you. I learned all of it. So that's why I do a training called Focus on the Seller. You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again, and I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
A farmer understands better than any other worker in this country. A farmer has an understanding that most people never achieve in their life. I really respect the farmers and their commitment, but I respect also their understanding. My grandfather, my uncle, the thing was to wake up early in the morning. Before you start your day by feeding all the animals. I never understood that. Why am I slopping these hogs, baling this hay for these cows, taking food out to the hunting dogs, going to get these mules and horses, walking them down to water? Why am I feeding these chickens, man? All this before I eat. My grandfather sat me down and he said, young man, if we don't take care of these animals that we are requiring to take care of us, he said, what's gonna happen to us? He said, we depended on them chickens to lay eggs, to give us meat. We depended on them hogs for meat. We depended on the mules to pull the plows so we can plant. We depended on them horses to drag all these wagons around. We depended on these hunting dogs to go out in the wood and uncover the animals for us. He said, and what I respect about farmers is they understand that everything comes in seasons. There is a planting season, and you got to plant and plant and plant and plant, plow, till, hoe the rows. You got to do all that, seed it, fertilize it, in order for a crop to grow. Now, here's what happens some years. Some years it's a drought. Ain't no rain, ain't no crops. Sometimes it's a flood. Wipe out all the crops, all the planting. But guess what? You still got to do the planting. Because what you're banking on is just enough rain, just enough sunshine, so you can harvest. And even if their crops get washed out, even if the floods come, even if the drought comes, you know the thing about a farmer? They do it all over again because they understand that eventually you'll be able to harvest. And that's what I respect about farmers, and that's my life.
You're different than everybody else. Don't worry if they don't get it. Don't try and convince people to do this business. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You are not like everybody else. You can walk outside and find pigeons, but if you're looking for eagles, it's going to take you a minute. You are different. It's lonely at the top. How many of you know it's lonely at the top? Raise your hands. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better. That's what I'm talking about. You're different. One great entrepreneur said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take a calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. You showed up because you're building a business that you can stand and say, I did this. I did this. This is my dream.
We each have a gift, but too many people miss out because they refuse to sign the lease on their gift. You keep looking for it outside of you. Stop. Sit with yourself. What is it that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort? That's your gift. But if you are constantly looking outside of yourself and you don't latch on to your gift, you will never find your purpose. If you want to succeed, you must commit to your own gift and embrace it.
Take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No, no. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
You know better, but you're not doing better. That's some scary shit. For you to decide, here's limitations with my career and my marriage and my personal life. Here's some dysfunction in my career, my personal life, and my surroundings and my friends. I know better, but I'm so used to doing wrong and being dysfunctional. I know better, but I don't want to do better. Or I know better, but I'm not willing to do better. You have decided to settle, and you're so comfortable in your skin. You are pissing everybody off at your job. If somebody gonna look at me, treat me, and be disrespectful, like, fuck you, well, guess what? Fuck you. Is that really gonna help your career to grow with that type of mentality? When's the last time you brought your boss a basket and just said, with the amount of people that are unemployed in this country, sometimes I can take having a job for granted, being able to pay my bills, feed my kids, pay my mortgage or my rent, my car note. It's only because you have a job that you're able to survive. Most of us want more than what we already have. But the fact that you do have, and you're being mean, you have an attitude, everything about what you've been doing is basically self-sabotage. You're trying to, it's like, okay, here's a blessing, here's an opportunity right here in front of me. I'm gonna use my charm to get in the door, and then I'm gonna become an asshole. Self-sabotage, self-defeat. Here's an opportunity right here in front of me. Things are going well. Things are beautiful. They like me, they like me. And then something in your mind and in your spirit says, let me try and figure out a way to f this up. Because for some reason in your mind, you associate dysfunction with success. You know to do better, but you don't want to do better. Self-sabotage, self-defeat is real. When you show up late, when you are out of shape and your job requires you to be in shape, when you are not working as hard as you know you can work on the job, when you are giving people attitude because they're giving you an attitude, that's like a cycle of death. It ain't gonna stop. It's like catty little girly shit, and men do the same shit. Catty, girly, just dumb shit. Ego, you know what I'm saying? Homeboy came, look, he got a problem with me, so I got a problem with him. If your goal is to work your way up the success ladder, if you're gonna have a problem with everybody who has a problem with you, do you think that that's gonna help you to get to the top even faster? You know how many times I gotta laugh at shit that ain't funny? You know how many times I gotta go to dinners and events and places and be around people that I don't fuck with at all? I don't like them. They've made it obvious that they don't like me. But guess what? If it's a game of survival, we gonna get from where we are to where we trying to be. Your pride and your ego is out of control. Your pride and your ego has been killing your career growth. Your pride and your ego and your attitude has compromised the altitude of your career. I'll say it again. Your attitude has compromised the altitude of your career. Your could be on another level. You know better, but you're deciding to not do better. You are a lazy, unprofessional, mean attitude having, and yet when things are not happening good for you, when things are not coming your way, when things are not happening as fast as you want them to happen, you blame everybody else. But if you have a f***ed up attitude, it is going to continue to compromise the altitude of your career. I refuse to be aware of something I could be and should be doing better and purposely decide to not do it. I refuse. That's just like inviting broke into your life. That's like inviting homeless in your life. That's inviting no gas money, can't pay your cell phone bill. That's inviting bullshit in your life. To know better and not do better is some of the dumbest shit you could ever decide to do for yourself.
Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up! You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. Shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
Most of us are also afraid of the unfamiliar. I've never done that before. I've never lived in that city before. I got all these gifts and all these talents. I'm so ambitious. I feel like there's no opportunities in this city, state, or country that I live in. So why the f do you still live there? If you want to get into model or anything in the fashion industry, the mecca of fashion and modeling is New York City. If you're trying to get into music as a producer or a songwriter, the mecca is Atlanta or LA, but mainly Atlanta. If you're trying to get into acting, writing scripts, and doing movies and acting or directing or filmmaking or producing movies in any capacity, that is Los Angeles. That's LA. Where do you live? You got all these gifts and all these talented, all these gifts and all these talents. Do you think that you just writing scripts, trying to study acting and doing all the things that you're doing, you think somebody gonna find your ass in the middle of nowhere? Nobody gonna find you. Out of sight, out of mind. No one is ever gonna see or have you in mind for any project or opportunity if you live in the middle of nowhere. Your own friends and family can't find your ass when they come visit, let alone somebody who has a movie or a project that's got your name all over it. And things are not gonna happen that fast. But understand, out of sight, out of mind. And once you get on people's radars, you have to understand that not everybody's gonna be checking for you. I often say, you never know what's on people's minds. Often say you never know what's on people's mind. When you try and walk up to them, oh my God, Tyrese, I'm a fan. Hey man, can you? Okay, I hear you. You don't know what's on my mind. You don't know what I'm going through. So don't feel like anybody's dissing you or rejecting you when you approach them to try and have a conversation about something that you're passionate about, something that you're excited about.
If you're going to be successful in creating the life of your dreams, you have to believe that you are capable of making it happen. You have to believe that you have the right stuff and that you're able to pull it off. Now, whether you call it self-esteem, self-confidence, or self-assurance, it's a deep-seated belief that you have what it takes, the abilities, the inner resources, the talents, and the skills to create your desired results. Now, believing in yourself is simply an attitude. Believing in yourself is a choice. You have to choose to believe that you can do anything you set your mind to, anything at all, because in fact you can. It might help you to know that the latest brain research now indicates with enough positive self-talk and positive visualization, combined with proper training, coaching, and practice, anyone can learn to do almost anything. Now, I've interviewed thousands of successful people, and almost every one of them has told me, I was not the most gifted or the most talented person in my field, but I chose to believe that anything was possible. And because of that, I studied, I practiced, and I worked harder than the others, and that's how I got to where I am. You know, if Ruben Gonzalez, a 20-year-old living in Texas, hot Texas, can take up the luge, which is a winter sport, and become an Olympic athlete, if Bill Gates, who was a college dropout, can become a multi-billionaire, and Stephen J. Cannell, who was a dyslexic student who failed 3 grades in school, can become a best-selling author and a television producer, then you too can accomplish anything if you'll simply believe it's possible. So make the decision right now to believe that you create all of your experiences, because you do. Let's start creating the ones you want by believing you can. Sounds a little strange, but accepting this level of responsibility is uniquely and inevitably empowering. It means you can do, change, and become anything at all.
Take your place. Make your mark. Live your life. Take your place. Make your mark. Huh? And live your life. God didn't bring you in this world to be average. God didn't bring you in this world to wake up and die one day and just be another person that lived and died and didn't do anything significant in this world.
Never, ever, ever give up. Chicken Soup for the Soul was rejected by 144 publishers. 144 publishers said, we don't want to publish a collection of short stories. The title's stupid, Chicken Soup for the Soul, what does that mean? People don't buy collections of short stories. There's never been, successful chain of doing that. So literally, we spent 14 months trying to find a publisher. And we'd go to New York with our agent, and eventually our agent gave us the book back and said, I can't sell this. So we went to the National Booksellers Association convention down in Anaheim. We went from booth to booth to booth for 3 days. And there were 4,000 publishers represented there. And we go, would you publish our book? Would you publish our book? Would you publish our book? And we got no, 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 no. It was late on the third day that a little publisher from Florida, after we'd gotten over 144 rejections, said, we'll read it. And then they said, we said, well, how many copies do you think we'll sell? After they said, yeah, we'll buy it. A couple weeks later, they said, we'll publish it. And they said, well, maybe 20,000 if we're lucky. And we said, our goal is to sell 1.5 million in a year and a half. Now, have you ever told someone your dream and had them laugh out loud at you? He laughed out loud. Now, if we had given up after 100 publishers had said no, I wouldn't be standing here today. Wouldn't have happened. And so you've got to be willing to persevere. Because we didn't take no, see, when the world says no, you say next.
Love me. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant, that no one is checking for me, and that I don't mean anything to the world, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe it about myself. See, the day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion is the beginning of the end. Most of y'all, and it's f***ed up, I see it every day, all day. Most of you guys don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child and you're shaking. And it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure, feeling self-conscious, and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you.
Only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill, right? I will run.
You would not be outworked.
I will not be outworked,
right?
Period. You might have more talent than me, you might be smarter than me, you might be sexier than me, you might be all of those things. You got it on me in 9 categories. But if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's 2 things. You're getting off first, or I'm gonna die. It's really that simple, right? So let's go back to the question about what if people block me out. There's gonna be 2 options. I'm gonna get back in, or I'm gonna be dead. Right? It's like, you're not going to outwork me. It's such a simple, basic concept. It's the guy who is willing to hustle the most is going to be the guy that just gets that loose ball. You know, he got two. Ooh, God, he hustled, he grabbed that one. That was going to be out of bounds, but he saved it back in. It's like the commodity that I see the majority of people who aren't getting the places they want or aren't achieving the things that they want in this business is strictly based on hustle. It's strictly based on being outworked. It's strictly based on missing crucial opportunities. I say all the time, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. You are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. As Jack indicated, I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area called Liberty City, in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor with my twin brother. We were 6 weeks of age. We were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, "Young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "It doesn't matter, follow my directions now." I said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm educable, mentally retarded." And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality."
In order to complain, I have to have a reference point of something better that I want that I'm not willing to risk creating. Now let me explain that again. I have to have a reference point in my mind of something I want that's better than what I have that I'm not willing to risk creating, so what I do is complain about it instead. See, if I was complaining about my wife, it would mean that I would have to believe that somewhere out there in the world there's a better woman than my wife. See, if every woman on the planet died, except my wife, do you think I'd go to work the next day and complain about her? No, she's the only one. And I'd be going, "Hey, and I got her. This is really cool, right?" Do you ever hear anyone complain about gravity? Very rarely. You know, gravity makes us all bend over. Do you ever see an old person walking down the street going, "Gravity?" They have a little walker. "I hate gravity. If it weren't for gravity, I wouldn't be all bent over like this. Gravity sucks." Now, have you ever heard an older person doing it? No, the reason they don't complain about gravity is because there's no alternative to it. You know, gravity just is. So if someone's complaining about something, it means they know there's something they can do about it, because we don't complain about the things we can't change. So as soon as you hear yourself complaining, I want you to stop and say, okay, what would I rather have? Remember, law of attraction always says focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Because when you're talking about what you don't want, when you're complaining and blaming, you're focusing on that which you don't want, and you're accelerating its expression out into the universe with those negative feelings. And yet we'll spend a majority of our time complaining about so many things. And usually we complain about them to people who can't do anything about it.
You are here because you've got a clear vision of what you want and where you're going. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. Yes, yes. You want more. You want more.
Didn't grow up with the sense that where we were was where we were going to be. You know, we grew up with the sense that where we were almost didn't matter because
we were becoming
right. Something greater.
You can do anything. You got to be willing to take the action.
Take no less than 100% responsibility for your life. You know, one of the greatest myths that's pervasive in our culture today is that you're entitled to a great life and that somehow, somewhere, someone is responsible for filling our lives with continual happiness and exciting career options, a nurturing family, and blissful personal relationships simply because we exist. But the real truth is that there's only one person responsible for the quality of your life, and that person is you.
I don't want to be an icon. I want to be an idea. You know, I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent magic, right? That you're in a universe and 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 only equals 4 if you accept that 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 is going to be what I want it to be. You know, and there's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening. Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
Stop being afraid of uncertainty. Uncertainty is what's exciting.
Right.
If you go to Africa on a vacation, a safari, you have no idea what's going to happen. That's part of the adventure.
It's fun.
That's part of the fun,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you knew, oh, there's going to be a zebra that pops out right here, or this is going to be next,
That's
it might
right.
get boring, right?
Or if you go river rafting, you don't know where the rapids are and how you're going to do it. And if you go surfing, you don't know exactly how the wave's going to break and all that and how big it's going to be. And so that adventure is really what life's about. And so we need to be excited. Fear is created by imagining bad things that haven't happened yet. So fantasized experiences appearing real, everyone always says that. Someone else recently said, forget everything and run. But, but I think that if you realize that you're creating your own fear by imagining a bad thing, oh, if there's a recession, I'll lose my house. Why not go, if there's a recession, I'm gonna make more money because there's gonna be opportunities and we're gonna be able to pay our house out faster. Zig Ziglar said, worrying is negative goal setting. And all you have to do is use that same power to think and visualize to create a positive outcome instead of a negative, and then the fear disappears.
Road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard. And it is going to get hard and you're going to want to quit sometimes, but it'll be colored by who you are and more who you want to be. I definitely found that wanting to be an actor stems from wanting to be somebody and wanting to say something to people.
I have a habit of dreaming with my eyes open. I get very inspired by the things I see. I'm inspired by architecture. I'm inspired by photography. I'm inspired by ideas. I'm inspired by the idea that someone can have a vision. And if that vision had stayed in their mind, they would have robbed the world of the opportunity to experience that vision.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. There's no easy way around it. No matter how talented you are, your talent is going to fail you if you're not skilled. You know, if you don't study, if you don't work really hard and dedicate yourself to being better every single day, you'll never be able to communicate with people.
The day that you Allow the opinions of everybody on the outside world to define your day-to-day, month-to-month, and year-to-year. It's the beginning of the end. Love yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself. Believe in yourself, independent of the validation of the world.
Oh no, fear is everything. Yeah, like if there was one concept that I would suggest to people to take a daily confrontation with, is fear. The problem with fear is that it lies, right? So fear tells you, hey, you know, if you say that to that girl, she's gonna know she has you, you know, and she'll never really be attracted to you if she knows how much you attracted to her. Don't say that, no. How we get her is when she walks by, ignore her.
Right, so
you know, it's like
pop it on your shoulder.
Fear tells you dumb shit like that, right? You know, so you know, for me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? What happens is you go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah, right? And you go home by yourself, you're like, right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. Right, so maybe they not, maybe, I mean, we don't have to go. We don't have to do it. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane and you can't figure out why you would do that, right? And you're laying there and you have the worst night's sleep of your life, but you still have the hope that your friends were drunk, right? So you wake up the next day and you go, down and you say where you were going to meet and everybody's there. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool. Right? So you get in the van and you don't know that your friends had the same night that you had because they're pretending like they didn't. They're like, yeah, man, my uncle's a Navy SEAL and, this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this. And you're like, oh, my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you get there, and then you have this safety brief. And you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is well, why the hell, what could happen? That the chute wouldn't open, right? So you do a thing, and what you do is your first jump, you're attached to a guy who is going, he's going to walk you out. So you go, and you get there, and there's an airplane, and nobody's stopping. Everybody's still going. So you get onto the airplane and you're sitting there and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger. You're sitting on his lap. And it's like, you're trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? Right? So, and then you just want to make sure, you got kids, right? You got people you need to see, right? You just want to make sure he's serious, right? So you get in there. So everything's normal. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet. And you notice there's a light. It's red and it's yellow and green, right? So right now the light's red. So then you start thinking at some point the light's going to go green, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you wait and it goes yellow and the light goes green and somebody opens the door. And in that moment, you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Right? Terror. Oh, sorry, I'm spitting. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. No, terror. Right? So you go and then, if you were smart, you sat in the back so you don't go first, right? And then people start going out of the airplane. And you go, and the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing, and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death,
And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2. And he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. Right? Right? And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying, right? It doesn't feel like falling, right? It's like you actually are kind of held a little bit by the wind, and then you start falling, and there's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. It's bliss. And you're flying. Right? And you're doing that. And then 20 seconds, 25 seconds, 40 seconds, and you have enough time to just kind of be like, oh, shit, that's that building. That's not like that, man. The lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Just don't go. Why are you scared in your bed 16 hours before you jump? Why are you scared in the car? Why could you not enjoy breakfast? What did you need that? The fear is fear of what? You're nowhere even near the airplane. Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. You don't have to jump. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life.